Hey everybody, it's a good day. It's about 5 o'clock. The temperature is about 55 degrees. Humidity is 41%. I've said in earlier videos that when I first started buying this thing, I didn't really know where to buy stuff. I didn't know that I could get 3003 aluminum for about 130 bucks for a 10 by 4 sheet. So the aluminum that I did have was stuff that I got at flea markets, estate sales. This is the back of a stop sign. And that was all the aluminum that I thought I could find, because I thought that aluminum was really, really expensive, which it is if you buy aircraft aluminum. I'm not an expert, but just on the people I've talked to and the phone calls I've made tells me that. So this is the first example of the escape hatch that I did. This is, of course, the aircraft commander's side. It's relatively close, relatively accurate, but I've been putting this off for a long time to do the other side, which I'm about to show you, because of the anxiety, because there's just so many holes that have to line up. And this has to line up, and the back plate has to line up. And of course, you know, this whole mechanism with, you know, this functioning door. Well, it's kind of hard to do one-handed. There it goes. It works when it wants to. Plus, mind you, it's not done. This weather sealing's way too big. I just popped that in there just to see what it would do. Moved on to doing these guys because I ran out of strips. I have to get with my aluminum people so they can get my strips in and cut, because I don't like cutting these. So let me show you what the real thing looks like over here on the pilot side. I've still got some fitting to do. And of course, that back plate behind this whole thing has a lot to do with the way it fits up in here snug with the handle, I guess you'd say. This was an almost a I'm not Convair moment. As close as I want to come to it. This is about as difficult as I want to get. First thing I had to do was take a sheet that was big enough. This is made out of 16 gauge 3003. And I had to English wheel it to conform with the canopy. And then I did these corners. Once I got all the corners down, I was going to make a pattern of the whole thing with a piece of really thick paper, but the paper bent in a way that I didn't feel really confident about. So what I did was, this is the same thing I did on these strips. I laid down a piece of duct tape on the edge and started at a given point like so, and just took my drill and drilled out where these holes are, because you can see the speed nuts when you rub your finger over them. Started over here and did that, kind of peeled it off there a little bit to see if I was on target. Every one of these is absolutely perfect. I'd have no complaints whatsoever. Since these are the first holes that I did, some of the speed nuts are kind of in there, kind of crooked, so I'm gonna have to reinstall. When I take this off to install the glazing, I'm gonna have to redo these speed nuts, which is no big deal whatsoever. It's just kind of annoying when you can't get your screws to go in. A lot of metal finish to do. It kind of like, this is flat and then this curves down, so I have to get this curve perfect. I get some metal in here. I just kind of hammered it, tapped it in there, but that's the way that is. So this will sit, it'll go curve and then flat, curve, flat. And one of the screws fell out of this thing, so I don't know what's going to happen when I open this up. There it goes. Just drops down and then slides back like the other one. They work when they don't have the weather stripping in there. They work really good. And once I get all the side pieces in there that force it up in there and get that weather stripping, that thing and its friend on the other side, they're going to be awesome. But there we are with that. I'm really glad that I'm super happy this is out of the way. I worried about, you know, how I was going to do these and get these 1,200, 1,500 screws to match up with their U-bolts on the bottom, U-nuts. But this really drove me crazy. I still have to do the big steel back plate, which is going to be 16 gauge steel. And then there's triangles here. I assume they're for strengthening. And then they've got holes for machine screws and bolts or nuts to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Also, in a burst of random inspiration, painted these sack bands on there. I didn't do any research. I knew that they were relatively in that location. I knew that they were blue and they had white stars. The stars are a little bit too big, but going back and comparing with one of the vintage pictures that was my my motivation, it's almost perfect. So they'll do. I think it might need to be a little bit darker, like a navy blue. We'll get there one day. I'd really like to build the nose so I can get that little piece of that, or get the ammo boxes for the front turret up there, but we'll see. I don't really know if there's anything that I've really done. I got some Clecos. I'm gonna start playing around with those. I don't know how many real rivets I can incorporate into this thing. I've thought about going around all the rivets that are supposed to be either flush rivets or squash rivets, whatever they are, going ahead and just popping these out and putting real rivets in there. I don't know, because there's not going to be many. And my biggest problem is I don't have somebody to operate the bucking bar. And my wife and my daughter sure ain't going to come out here and do it for me. But that's where we're at, I think. I got a light so I can see when I operate my press and my mill. That's always a good thing. Got another light over there. I guess I could show you around on the inside really quick. Oh, and I did put forth a little bit of an effort to get the floor cleaned. Oh yeah, that's what I'm forgetting. The turbojet control console. It's back up in here now. This was one of the first things that I made. I knew that it was made out of cast magnesium. So, and mine's made out of course, you know, riveted plate. Since I built this thing, the outside is perfect. This is almost identical, if not identical, to the real deal. But because of the casting on the inside, it's got structural bracing and stuff that I have much better pictures of today than I had when I built this thing 2 years ago. I mean, this thing is just like the rest of the airplane. It's solid as a box of rocks. But I may just go ahead and rebuild the casing out of steel so I can incorporate all the details. And there's big holes behind here for the big rheostats or whatever they're called, potentiometers. Plus, I want to get the structure correct in there so I can mount the potentiometers for the jet throttles. And of course, this is going to have a big rubber piece that plops on there. I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I'll burn that bridge when I cross over it. And we got a pair of real T18 in-flight monitors in here. Of course, I'm going to have 2 more T18s on the coaming when I put it back in there. There's big holes in here for the big AN connectors. And there's a big line, a huge bundle about 2 inches thick that goes like this. And then it runs like that. And then straight back. And then down into, or like that. And then into bulkhead 3.0 and disappears. I'll model that. I think, because I got my my 360 images back. I appreciate if you're listening or watching that you got those back for me. Those things are invaluable. I think that it's like the top wasn't so much of a traditional fiberglass using fiberglass and resin. To me, it looks like it's like fiberglass with like some sort of like a Bondo. So I've been troubled with exactly how I'm going to put fiberglass over my head. So what I think I'm going to do is put cardboard up here because they have to overhang because they bolt into here on this side of the frame. So put cardboard up here and put fiberglass and attach it to the cardboard with like tape or something so I can pull it off, and then cover it in Bondo. So I'll have that. And then if I want to take the entire form out and put it outside and flip it over, then put fiberglass, I might do that. I'm still studying it. I still have a lot of things to get right. I've got that big clipboard. It's going to be cool. But it's pretty much, well, I don't want to say pretty much done because that's the biggest lie I've ever told, but it's getting there. Got 2 donations yesterday. Thank you very much. Those will go a long way. And welcome all my new subscribers. I've got a few here lately. That makes my day. Yeah. I'll see y'all next time.